Hey everyone, Richard here, Metal Fan. Bringing you guys a long-awaited CD update. I haven't done one in a long ass time. I think since like August since I last did a CD update of any sort, and I've bought in a lot of stuff in the last 4 months. And this might be a very long video, give or take. But without further ado, let's start this, shall we? Ready? Here we go. First CD I gotten is actually a debut full-length album from a fairly new band. They've only been around for like a couple of years. They had like an EP or something before that. And that is The Wreckage of Stars by Black Crown Initiate. I mean, like I said, these guys, this is sort of like a fairly introduction to this band. I'm sort of fairly new to them. And I heard some friends of mine talking about this album, and I went and checked it out and bought it, actually. And when I heard this, I'm like, wow, this album is just purely fucking sick, and I really enjoyed this album. One of my favorites of 2014. And next one I gotten is a pretty sick album itself, Blood Mantra by Decapitated. I mean, this album is just purely fucking sick. Some really good, insane death metal, and I fucking love it. Next CD this is actually the only metal album to hit #1 on the top 200 Billboard charts this year, and that is Point 5 The Great Chapter by Slipknot. This is the band's first album since All Hope Is Gone, which came out in like 2008, and this album just blew me by surprise. Hell, I think this is better than Volume 3 or even All Hope Is Gone, in my honest opinion. I think this is their best since Iowa. I think I said that in my review of the album, and this album is just wow. It's a pretty damn good album. And next one is actually an older album which came out in 1989. I know, and that is the first Skid Row album, self-titled. Yeah, I mean, these guys, I'm not too big of a fan of them, but I like some of the songs on this album. It's pretty solid. I guess you can call it a guilty pleasure. I don't know, but yeah, they're a good band. I somewhat like them, not really. But yeah. Moving on. These next two CDs are actually both from the same band, and I don't know why I finally decided to buy something from this band. But yeah, I'm pretty sure most people probably don't know who they are, but yeah, and that is Sonic Syndicate. I mean, they're from Falkenberg, Sweden. I got their second album, Only Inhuman, which came out in 2007. I mean, if you like sort of like melodic death metal, mellow death metalcore or something, whatever you want to kind of classify them as, this is their second album. And their third album, and the last time it really got my attention, was Love and Other Disasters, which is also damn good as well. I mean, I'm also really good, somewhat friends with them. I'm friends with them on Facebook. I've actually talked to some of the members a couple times on there, and they seem like pretty cool dudes. And well, gal, since I have that chick playing bass, but who's also, but yeah. Anyway, I'm also good friends with them, and also the 3 former members that are now in the Unguided, which I definitely need to get their new album and their debut, actually. And yeah, they're really good, really cool band. I also need to get the new Sonic Syndicate album, which is actually not bad. But yeah, they're a pretty good band, and you guys are awesome if any of the members are watching this. Anyway, moving on. Next album is some more 2014 releases. Next up we have Deathless by Revocation, which is the follow-up to last year's self-titled album, which hard to believe this album came out less than a year ago, which is, the self-titled actually, bleh. And this album, I mean, these guys continue to get better and better. I mean, last album was great, but this album is just insane. Next up is actually a comeback album. This is the band's third album. It's the first album in nearly 25 years, and that is Your Son Died by A Sanctuary. I mean, these guys are, I've kind of gotten into them now, and these guys are pretty awesome. I really enjoy this. Next up we have Sun Eater by Job for a Cowboy. I mean, like I said, Job for a Cowboy, they just continue to get better and better with each album. I mean, Demonocracy was good, but this album is pretty damn good as well. It's just downright crushing, and I love it. Next up we have Self-Titled by Darkest Hour, where, I mean, these guys, honestly, I mean, they recently got signed to Sumerian Records, and these guys are pretty awesome. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I think they're pretty underrated, and I think they're absolutely incredible. Okay, actually, this album is actually old. This came out in 1986. Doomsday the Deceiver by Flotsam and Jetsam. Yeah, it's the pretty much I think the last album or the only album. I think this is the debut. I have no idea. I haven't listened to them in a long time. But yeah, this is the last album with Jason Newsted before he left to join Metallica, and it's a pretty good album and a hugely underrated thrash metal band in my opinion. Next up, if I'm saying band, and if I could pronounce this band right, Fallujah with their new album, The Flesh Prevails. It's just pretty good death metal. It's a damn solid album. I really like this album a lot. Next album is a band that some people like and some people hate, and they're okay, I guess. And that is another new 2014 release, and that is either Life Reaper by I the Breather. I mean, these guys are pretty solid. I mean, I saw these guys back in Swayze's back in Maine. For those of you who don't know who Swayze's is, they're sort of like a little local venue in Georgia. I mean, you should, for anybody that's in Georgia watching this video, you should try to check that place out. It's pretty awesome. And yeah, I mean, I wasn't too big of a fan of these guys, but I saw them back in Maine. I'm not gonna lie, they put on a damn good live show. I mean, yeah, and I decided to check out this album, and it's pretty solid. And I saw them play with a bunch of local bands back in May, and I keep repeating myself. It's a solid album. And speaking of local bands, I actually got two local stuff right here. One I actually got in last night. And they're also really good friends with these guys. And that is the Grey EP by Sustenance. Yeah. I mean, I ignored. It didn't have the album artwork, so I went and printed it out. But it didn't print out all the way. And I keep trying a million times. I had to this is kind of a shitty thing. I had to finish up the artwork, try to draw it. I know, but yeah, because I wasn't going to waste my time trying to print it out, and it's full of it kept getting big and small. But anyway, but other than that, this EP is pretty damn good. I mean, to kind of describe them, they kind of describe themselves as down tempo groove. But when I listen to this EP a few times, I can see them kind of lumped in to a bunch of other subgenres, mainly kind of gent, mainly in the guitar riffs. Kind of like hardcore, which I do like some. I'm not too big, but anyway, this is a damn good EP. And I also got from a really good Extraña, the Moscow Protocol. And if you can excuse the fucking butterfly sticker, I don't know why the fuck that's on there, but anyway, these guys are just really insane. I mean, I saw some of their videos on YouTube. I mean, they have one music video. I mean, they kind of acted all goofy and stuff. They can be goofy at times. But if you look beyond that, just listen to the music. Listen to it just for the music. I mean, the music itself is pretty damn catchy. If you like bands like Dying Fetus or Abominable Futility, you might like this band. Alright, next up we have another good new album from a thrash metal band, Blood In, Blood Out by Exodus. This is the band's first album in 10 years to feature old vocalist Steve Stetrozusa, and this album just fucking rules. I mean, one of the best songs, I like the song Salt the Wound, which features a guest solo from Kirk Hammett from Metallica, who also used to be in Exodus, for any few people that don't know. And this album is just wow. And another new thrash metal album I got in this year, White Devil Armory by Overkill. And I got this at Best Buy, and the coolest thing is the booklet actually came signed by Bobby Blitz Ellsworth and Dee Dee Verney, and it's just wow. I mean, I bet all of you are jealous now, but yeah. This is a pretty damn good album. I mean, these guys been around for a little over 30 years, and they just deliver, and I really love that. And this is a digipack, which comes with 2 bonus tracks, the fight song and Miss Misery, which features a guest appearance from Mark Tonillo, who's the current vocalist for Accept, and I really enjoyed that. And speaking of Accept, I actually got the new album, Blind Rage, which is just wow. Like I said, these guys been around for a little over 30 years, and they just keep delivering and delivering. It's just, I mean, they're 50 years old, and they still put out damn good music. It's just the riffs on this album sound really awesome, and I really enjoyed this album a lot. It's pretty damn sweet. Next up, we have, if I could pronounce this band right, it's a new album, Adnal Nathrak, with their new album, Desideratum. This album just, wow, you should listen to this album it's just insane. Next up we have from Swedish death metal band Bloodbath with Grand Morbid Funeral. It's in a little hard book. And this album is just, this album just plain slays. Just, my god. Next album, and I know a lot of fucking metal elitists are gonna talk shit about this, and that is the new album from Dragon Force, Maximum Overload. Yeah, I mean, these guys have gotten better and better. I mean, and yes, I do like Dragon Force. For any of you that are gonna hate and talk shit, I mean, I'm just kidding. I mean, I don't really care if you don't like them. I do. Oh, so yeah, I thought this is a pretty good album. Next album is Bloodstone and Diamonds by Machine Head. I mean, this is a damn sweet album. I mean, it's good, but honestly, I don't think it's not as good as the previous album, Unto the Locust, which I thought was pretty good. But this album is pretty damn good as well. Next up is an EP from Carcass, the Surgical Remission Surplus Steel EP, which is a follow-up to the last year's major comeback album, Surgical Steel. I think this mainly just has a bunch of songs that didn't make the Surgical Steel album. I really loved the booklet, which they did like a Beatles parody. Let's hope Paul and Ringo don't sue. But yeah, the EP itself, it's pretty damn good. I really love it. I mean, it's Carcass, you can't go wrong there. And this album is just, wow, my god, it's the sickest album I've heard. Conjuring the Dead by Belphegor. I mean, wow, just really good, brutal, blackened death metal. If you like Behemoth, pick this fucking album out. It's insane, but it's not as good as New Behemoth. But anyway, next album is a band that, well, some people like and some people don't like, and it's a new 2014 release, and that is Phantom by Betraying the Martyrs. I mean, these guys are, this is sort of like fairly new to this band. I mean, these guys are not bad. I mean, I got in some sadly because I heard them cover Let It Go from that damn Disney movie Frozen, which I fucking hate that song. But in all honest opinion, they actually made that song somewhat listenable. And these guys are, they're pretty good. Next album is a really mellow album of 2014, and that is Pale Communion by Opeth. I mean, I finally own something from this band, finally. I mean, it's Opeth. I mean, I enjoy it. I pretty much enjoy some of all their shit. And speaking of Opeth, I actually gotten an older album from them, and that is Damnation, which is just insane. Definitely need to get more Opeth at some point. Alright, next up we have two CDs from Between the Buried and Me. I actually got the debut, which is a pretty solid debut. And my favorite album of theirs, period, Colors, which this album is just, wow. That's all I can say. Next album is from a new album from Norwegian black metal band 1349 with Massive Cauldron of Chaos. Excuse the fucking sticker. I don't know why that's still on there. But this album is just, wow, it's just, I mean, this is their 6th album and just, wow. Sorry, that's all I can say. Alright, these next 3 CDs are from the same band, and that is Unearthed. I got in the debut album, The Stings of Consciousness, which is a good album, but my honest opinion, it's their weakest album, but it's still a damn good album. Then I got 3 in the Eyes of Fire, which is a really pretty good album, and I got the new album, Watchers of Rule, which is just, wow. Well, this is one of the better metalcore albums I've heard. I mean, last year was Disarmed Descent by Killswitch Engage, but this album is just insane. Next album I gotten is the first album in 19 years from this band. It's another comic album, and that is At War with Reality by At the Gates. It's a solid album. It's pretty decent. I mean, this album just doesn't really blow my mind or anything, but it's a good album. I actually like this album. Definitely get their older stuff. But anyway, next up I got from legendary death metal band Obituary with their new album Inked in Blood, which this album is pretty damn good. I really enjoyed that. And the last 8 CDs are all from the same band, and I finally completed their discography. I finally got all their albums. It's from one of my personal favorite bands and one of the best death metal bands in the world. Yep, I got a bunch of Cannibal Corpse CDs right here. I gotten the debut album Eaten Back to Life. The shitty thing is, I wish I would have gotten the original and not the remastered. I gotten Butchered at Birth, The Bleeding, which is the last album that they did with Chris Barnes on vocals, Gallery of Suicide, The Bleeding, which in my opinion is one of the most underrated Cannibal Corpse albums in their discography, Gore Obsessed, The Wretched Spawn, which that artwork looks fucking sick, Kill, and I got the new album A Skeletal Domain, which is, wow. But yeah, that's my CD update for you guys. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Check out any of this stuff that I showed you if you got the chance. And yep, see you guys later. Keep it metal.